Okay, so distance on coordinate grid, that is an I, sorry. Can't really see that. There's an I right there. Coordinate grid and more word problems. So when you're doing Pythagorean theorem, sometimes it might be in a coordinate system. And so you might have point A and point B, and they might say find the distance between point A and point B. So if I wanted to find the distance between point A and point B, then we know that the shortest distance would be just to go straight from them. A straight line from point A to point B. That would be the shortest distance. So if we look at that, if we look at point A and point B, we can't just like count. Like I can't say, that looks like 1, 2, 3. You can't just count 3 over. But you can make it into a triangle. I'm going to use 2 different colors. So I use pink there, and I'm going to use blue here. So notice, now it's a triangle. And notice, since it's on that grid, it is a right triangle. Well, since it's a right triangle, we can use Pythagorean theorem. So let's find how tall, or how tall this is. So that's 1, 2. And then we can find out how wide, so 1, 2, 3. And we can use Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so since it's a triangle, you can use Pythagorean theorem. I want you to think about what Pythagorean theorem is and how I would use that 2 and that 3 to find that distance right there. So we would take 2 squared plus 3 squared would give us c squared. But remember, we don't want to know what c squared is. We're going to want to know what just c is, which is that hypotenuse. And remember, we know we're looking for the hypotenuse because it's across from the right angle. Okay, so 2 squared. 2 times 2 is 4, and I'm going to use a different color. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3 squared, or 3 times 3 is 9. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 equals c squared. So I'm going to do the square root. Remember, hit second in this x squared button, because notice in blue is that thing right there, or is the radical or the square root. So square root of 13, and then hit enter. So it's 3.60555 ... equals c. I'm going to round it to the hundredths. So round to hundredths. So hundredths, if you think about a 100, has 2 zeros. So I want 2 decimals. So I underline 2 decimals, and then I look at the third. So 3.605, that 5 makes that 0 round up, so it'd be 3.61 equals C. So 3.61. Remember, this is the hypotenuse, so it should be the longest side. So 3.61 is larger than 3, so we're good. Okay, I'm going to write out the steps that we just did. So step 1, we found the height and the length, or the two legs. Okay, now I want you to look at this. This should look familiar, at least finding the 2 and the 3. Remember when we were finding the slope of a line? We would find this distance, which is just the rise, and we'd find this distance, which is just the run. So we found the height and the length, or the two legs, which is also the rise and run. So if you remember finding the rise and the run, then that's just your distance of the two legs, or how long the two legs are. Okay, step 2. We used Pythagorean theorem to find the hypotenuse. So we used a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, let's do another example. What if I wanted to find the distance between 2, 5 and 6, 3. So now I just have 2 points. So it would be, and I'm just going to use a pencil on this grid up here. So 2, 5, so I'm going to go over 2 and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. So it would be like that. But I'm not going to use the grid this time. Of course, you can, if it helps you, you can always use the grid. So I'm going to write that as a note. If you get stuck, graph it. So if you get stuck, you can graph it. But I'm going to use these same steps, but I'm going to do it using a table. So if I take these 2 points and I place them in a table. X, Y, and then I do 2, 5, and 6, 3. So if I have 2, 5, and 6, 3, remember it's X, Y, X, Y. Now, I want to find out how much that changed, and I find out how much that changed. So we know from 5 to 3, it changed by 2, and it went down 2. But if you don't even want to think about that, just take the second number and subtract the first. So do 3 minus 5, which is -2. And then do 6 minus 2, which is 4. So this is the height, and this is the length, or the base, or whatever, of the triangle. So we still did the same first step, said find the height and the length. So we just found this. We don't need to put it in the slope, like where you put it rise over run. We're just going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to take -2 squared plus 4 squared, which is going to give me c squared. Oops, my pen stopped writing right there. Okay, so we have negative 2 squared plus 4 squared. Now, something I want you to think about is when we have that triangle, it's a little bit different in slope in this fact, but I'll show you how to not worry about it, is that a height can't be negative. Yes, it went down, but when we're talking about height of a triangle, it can't be negative. But we can also just put parentheses. So I'm going to have you put parentheses. Anytime it's negative, anytime it is negative, put parentheses. Okay, so let's type this in. So we have parentheses, and that's right here above the 8. Negative 2, remember the negative is down here, so negative 2, close parentheses, and then hit the squared, plus 4 squared. What's a negative times a negative? A negative 2 times a negative 2 would be a positive 4, plus 4 times 4 is 16. So 16 plus 4 would be 20. Let me show you without the parentheses. Notice it does the squared, it does 2 squared, and then it will take the negative. So you've got to put the parentheses, or it'll end up being a negative 4. Okay? Then we know we need to take the square root. Take the square root, and I forgot to write the square root up here, so in your last example, write the square root. We did it, we just didn't write it, and I don't want anybody getting confused when they look at their notes later. So then let's take the square root of 20 is 4.4721 equals C. Again, let's round to the hundredths. So hundredths means I want 2 decimals, and I need to look at the third. So 4.47 equals C. Okay, we're going to do one more example. I should have written this out already, sorry. So Farmington is mapped on a coordinate grid. They could also just say grid. San Juan College is the origin. Farmington High is 4 miles west of SJC, and that's just San Juan College. And PV is 1 mile, dang it, north of SJC. How far is it from FHS to PV? Sorry, that's a long word problem to write out. It says north. So Farmington is mapped on a coordinate grid. San Juan College is the origin. Farmington High is 4 miles west of San Juan College. PV is 1 mile north of San Juan College. How far is it from FHS to PV? So again, every time you have a word problem, draw a picture. So this first part, San Juan College is the origin. So we know the origin is right here. That's SJC, San Juan College. Farmington High is 4 miles west. So remember, never eat soggy waffles. That's the way I remember it, or one way to remember it. So Farmington High is 4 miles west. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's FHS. PV is 1 mile north of SJC. So 1 mile north. This is PV. Okay, and we want to know how far is it from FHS to PV. So we want to know this distance right here. So again, you want to find the rise and the run. So this is 1 mile north. This is 4 miles west. Really, the direction doesn't matter when we're finding the distance. Once we have placed it on the grid, it doesn't matter. So now we're going to use Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to do 1 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. So 1 squared is 1 plus 4 squared, or 4 times 4, is 16 equals c squared. 16 plus 1 is 17 equals c squared. Opposite of squaring a number is square root and square root. So then we're going to type that in. Square root of 17 is 4.123105626. Okay, this time I'm going to round to the 10th. So, tenths, a 10 has 1 0, meaning I need 1 spot or 1 decimal. So I need to look at the second number and see what it rounds to. So 4.12, that 2 makes the 1 stay, so it would be 4.1 equals C. Okay, so that's distance on a grid.